Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the June 11, 2018 Montgomery County Commission meeting. I'm going to ask Deputy Chief John Smith to call the meeting to order. If you would, please remain standing for the pledge led by Commissioner Wyatt and the invocation by Chaplain Creek.
All rise. Oh yes, this Honorable Board of County Commissioners now is in session pursuant to adjournment. May God save this state and its Honorable Board of County Commissioners.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we thank you for your love and your watch care. We thank you for this legislative body and they're willing to serve. We thank you for the abilities and things that we've been able to accomplish over the years. And we just thank you for the leadership. We ask that now as we go through a meeting, if our views differ, we ask that you will respect each other. It says in the Bible in Romans 12, verse 1 and 2, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the reviewing of your mind, and that you may prove that what is good and acceptable and perfect in the will of God. For it's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Ms. Jackson, would you please read the roll?
You have 21 present, 0 absent.
Thank you, ma'am. If I could have Coach Parker Holman and the 2018 Class A Baseball State Championship Rossview players to please come down front with me. Where's the coach? Where's Coach? Oh, he's coming down up there. Coach? Thank you for coming tonight. Coach and players, I have a proclamation that I'd like to read to you tonight. It's a proclamation by the county mayor. Whereas a Rossview baseball player is made, not born. They can be of any shape, size, or color, but share the common denominator of their love for the game and desire to play at their very best. And whereas the Rossview High School boys baseball team recent Class AAA Baseball State Championship was the program's first baseball title and the first baseball title in the history of Clarksville and Montgomery County. Whereas Rossview Hawks coach Parker Holman and his team celebrated their 11-1 win over Brentwood in a five-inning Class AAA Baseball State Championship on the final night of the spring fling. And whereas Rossview pounced on the Brentwood Bruins early in the game when Elijah Pheasants, is that how you say your name? Pleasance, I'm sorry, hit a home run in the first inning, and James, how you say your name, James? Avros. Followed up with a 3-run home run in the second inning that built a 5-1 lead. The Hawks finished off the Bruins with a 6-run third inning. And whereas Gage Bradley, a sophomore who has committed to Vanderbilt, picked up the win, striking out 5 and walking 3, gave up 3 hits and an earned run, and Christian Scott, a Tennessee signee, went 1 for 4. And the Rossview, this didn't say it doesn't say this in the proclamation, but y'all run ruled them. Way to go, Hawks. Awesome. The Rossview boys baseball team knew the true measure of their performance and would not be recorded in wins or losses, but in how much of themselves they gave to the game. These players all exhibit character and leadership and strive to improve themselves both on and off the field. Whereas Montgomery County is honored by the athletic achievements and leadership qualities of these young men, and this team is proof of that. Now, therefore, I, Jim Durrett, Mayor of Montgomery County, Tennessee, do hereby applaud the outstanding achievement of the Rossview Hawks boys baseball team in bringing home the first baseball state title to Montgomery County, and emphasize to all citizens the importance of how the spirit of competition and sportsmanship play a tremendous role in society today. Coach Holman, guys, congratulations. Thank you. Job well done. Coach, I think they want us to come down front over in the middle. Guys, if y'all come over here as well, please. Thank you, man. All right, Commissioners, our next item on the agenda is our approval of our May 14, 2018 minutes. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Creek, is there a second? Commissioner Gannon, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 21 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Next item on our agenda are our zoning resolutions. Our first resolution is CZ 10 2018, application to David Parker from AG to E1. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Harper, second. Commissioner Jason Hodges, any discussion on CZ 10 2018? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 20 yeses, 1 no, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Next is zoning resolution CZ 11, 2018, application of Ben Stanley from AG to R4. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Harper, is there a second? Commissioner Keene, any discussion on CZ 11, 2018? Commissioner Garland Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's been some very high temperatures the past week or so. We hadn't seen very much rain. I was just out at this property yesterday, and there is still standing water on the property. But that is not my main concern, because I really believe that once the water issue gets addressed by building codes, it's probably going to be rethought anyway. But the primary focus that I have on this zoning resolution is that I don't believe that the road itself could handle another 100 houses. Honestly, I don't believe it could handle another 20 houses. I just don't think the infrastructure is there for what is planned for this, and I feel that right now this would be quite detrimental to the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Any other discussion on CZ 11? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 11 yeses, 10 noes, 0 abstentions.
All right. Thank you. CZ 11 is approved. CZ 12, 2018, application of Ben Stanley from AG to R1A. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Harper, second. Commissioner Jason Hodges, any discussion on CZ 12, 2018? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 10 yeses, 11 noes, 0 abstentions.
CZ 12, 2018 fails. All right, CZ 13, 2018, application of Don Teasley and Lisa McLean from R1 to R4. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Riccone. Is there a second? Commissioner Hodges. Any discussion? Commissioner Riccone.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that this be deferred until the August meeting, please.
That motion has to have a specific date. We can get the date of the August formal meeting.
Yes, the August formal meeting.
It'd be August 13th. So your motion is defer until August 13th.
Yes, Mayor.
Is there a second? Commissioner Redd, any discussion on the amendment or on the deferral? Ms. Jackson, you ready to roll with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Being no discussion, if you would, please register your vote. Defer until August 13th. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 17 yeses, 3 noes, 1 abstention.
CZ 13, 2018 is deferred until the August 13th formal commission meeting. All right, on to our resolutions. Resolution 1861 is a resolution to purchase an excavator for the Montgomery County Highway Department with funds received as a result of the Improve Act fuel tax increase. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Baggett, is there a second? Commissioner Redd, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 21 yeses, 0 nos, 0 abstentions.
We'll take a short break if some of y'all, I know some people wanted to get up and didn't want to be rude. We'll take a short break if y'all would like to leave the chambers.
Six. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're on 5 right now.
Okay, sorry.
So, any other discussion on 18.6.5? If you would, please register your vote. Does anyone want to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 20 yeses, 1 no, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Resolution 1866, resolution making appropriations for the various funds, departments, institutions, offices, and agencies in Montgomery County, Tennessee for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018, and ending June 30, 2019, FY19, and approving the funding of nonprofit charitable organizations in accordance with TCA 59-109. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Keene, second. Commissioner Gannon. Any discussion? Commissioner Redd.
Now I would like to make the motion to remove the Two Rivers Company of $135,000.
So the motion is to remove the funding to the Two Rivers Company for $135,000. Is there a second? Commissioner Harper seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, if you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 8 yeses, 12 noes, 1 abstention.
All right, we're back on 1866. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Redd, if you would, Commissioner Redd, I'd ask that you yield to Commissioner Harper since you've spoken once on this resolution. Commissioner Harper.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make an amendment that we remove $400,000 from the school system allocation, move it back into the general fund.
We have a motion and a second to amend 1866, moving $400,000 from the funding of the schools.
Yes.
Back into the general fund of Montgomery County. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is there a second for that motion? Commissioner Garland Johnson. Ms. Jackson, you got it?
Yes, sir.
Discussion. Commissioner Gannon, on the amendment, please.
Yes, sir. My first question is, one, I'm assuming that's the half the penny growth. You're referring to that as the half a penny growth, so it's not a definitive 400 number? It's
Right,
the
half a penny.
Half of the penny growth that we gave at the end of the budget committee. So I would like to make a friendly amendment to that half a penny growth from the school system. Having seen Highland, Florida, and having seen Santa Fe and all that, one of the things that became known in the budget meeting was that we have 5 schools that don't have SROs. We approved 1 with a car. We approved 2 more when we found that out without a car from Commissioner Riccone. I would like to make a friendly amendment that we use that half a penny growth, because we're all in this together.
Let me just stop you for just a second. We need to make sure this friendly amendment that the dollar amount, we've got it correct. Mr. Harper's motion was $400,000, and it was properly seconded.
The half a penny is what I was looking for.
Well, there's a difference in those dollar amounts, and I think it's incumbent that every commissioner knows what that dollar amount is.
Put his mic on.
It's half the growth of the penny. It's roughly $368,000.
I'd be glad to change my motion to half a penny, which is approximately $368,000.
Let me add something to that. The penny growth is in relation to the tax levy resolution. So if we take it back, it's going to have to be done on that resolution rather than on the appropriation resolution. So if Mr. Harvey will expound, I think we'll have to go back and revisit that resolution to make that amendment, unless we do, as Commissioner Gannon is suggesting, and use that towards his amendment.
Right. So can he amend it to the half a penny, or does he have to make the motion again?
I think that's perfectly fine, and I don't know who seconded it.
Garland Johnson did.
Commissioner Johnson, so it's to the half penny is his motion to remove that from the funding of the schools. I think the question now is, Tim, is Mr. Taylor has said that Resolution 1865 actually spells out how the tax rate is divvied up. But I think when you're making appropriations, if you eliminate this is me talking to you, if you move those appropriations from somewhere, you have to go back and make Resolution 1865 levying your tax rate. You have to make it match with what the appropriations are.
It'll have to match.
Right.
It'll have to match.
So if this is approved, we have to go back to that and
Yes.
correct that, because we have to pass a tax rate that levies our funds to different organizations or
Correct.
branches of government.
And frankly, I think what you can do is move to table this one, to return to it as chairperson, and have that other vote first, because you really can't pass something that doesn't match before you have the other one in place.
Well, you can't change the tax rate until you know that this passes or not.
Well,
If there's no change until something changes in this
well, but you
area.
can't, but you gotta change, but 5 will have to change.
Yeah, you have to go back to it.
match 6.
After
So if
all
you
that's
vote-
done here
if-
tonight.
If you vote on 6 and pass 6, and you don't pass 5.
You got to go back to 5.
Then, so what I'm saying is, I think you can take, knowing that, you think I'm wrong? Oh, I think you're gonna have to make a match.
Well, I think we'll make a match.
Yeah.
All right.
We just got to see what
What
happens.
changes? Right.
I don't think there's any problem making a match.
All right, then you can revisit 5 by procedurally, Mayor, just
Yeah,
asking someone who voted.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Ms. Jackson? Read that out loud, please, Mr. Taylor.
The dollar amount, that penny growth will be $366,720.
$366,720, correct?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Jackson, are you good with the new motion and second? That
Yes, sir.
is an amendment
Yes, sir.
to 1866. Mr. Gannon, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You still have the floor.
Thank you, sir.
But I specifically asked that you talk about this amendment.
I am.
Okay.
And having said that, we've discovered that there's 5 schools that don't have SROs. We gave 1 with a car and 2 without a car. I would like to make a friendly amendment to this, that we use that, since we're all in this together, to use that half penny growth coming from the school to fund 3 more SROs for all, and that those funding, that 5 out of those 6 SROs have to fill the schools that currently do not have an SRO.
I don't know that that's friendly. It's complicated. I'm not saying it's ugly, but I don't know that we can accept that
Let me
as a
easy
friendly
it out,
amendment.
that we, with the half a penny, that we fund 3 more SROs without cars to fund, and that 5 of the SROs, 5 of the 6 SROs that we've approved tonight would have to go to the schools that do not have an SRO currently.
That's right. Been voted on that dictates where the funding goes. That's right. And we allow that all the time. We allow them to use those. Okay. So, Ms. Jackson, the amendment is to move half the penny, that dollar amount, and that those funds will be directed to the Sheriff's Department to fund 3 SROs in
Without
addition to,
cars.
sir?
Without cars.
Without cars, which is in addition to what's already in the appropriation budget, and that out of those 3 SROs and the ones that were part of the budget, 5 of those will go in schools that do not have SROs.
Yes, sir.
As a friendly amendment.
I will accept that as a friendly amendment. I think it's a great idea.
Commissioner Johnson, do you accept that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any discussion? Commissioner Genus.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since the school board is not here, and I know we sat through 2 fairly lengthy school board meetings as they briefed and they watched the penny increase, I went back into my records trying to find exactly what they had used a lot of these dollars for. And I know that they had added 3 English language instructors. They went through and looked at several of their other needs, not wants, and spent quite a bit of time taking this additional money and being able to apply it to the school and evenly distribute it to the learning of the children within the county. And I just want to throw that rebuttal out that I reject this amendment.
Thank you, Commissioner Genus. Commissioner Gannon?
One point that I failed to communicate was during our budget meeting, when we were talking about not giving the penny growth, after the school board came back out, Danny Grant had said that they had found an additional $900,000 that would help cover the penny if we did not give it to them.
Any other discussion on the amendment to 1866? Ms. Jackson, we are voting on the amendment to 1866. I guess you'd probably call it the school board amendment.
Yes, sir.
It's probably a little bit too lengthy to put up there.
We've got a pretty good description on this side.
Okay. Any other discussion on the amendment to 1866? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 18 yeses, 3 noes, 0 abstentions.
All right, 1866, we are now voting on the resolution as amended. Do we have a motion and a second as amended? Or is there another amendment? We just soon do them all while we're here. Commissioner Redd, I will come back to you. You've spoke on this. I will come back to you, I promise you. Commissioner Riccone.
I'd like to make an amendment that we add an amount not to exceed $35,000 to line item 101-52600- bunch of zeros -52-57900, and that's to purchase and upgrade the audio video system at Civic Hall.
Mr. Riccone, with all due respect, I think that should go in our cleanup amendment, which is 1869 in this year's budget.
Just call me Wallace Red.
I'm sure you're withdrawing that.
I will withdraw that.
I was ready. I've got one voted on. Yeah, Commissioner Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioners, I'd like to make an amendment to the budget on the TRC, reducing it from $135,000 to $60,000 for the employees.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Commissioner Harper, any discussion? 1866, amending Two Rivers funding from $135,000 to $60,000. No discussion. If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 16 yeses, 5 noes, 0 abstentions.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else before we vote on 1866 as amended? Commissioner Redd.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make the motion to remove the United Way nonprofit of $130,000.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Robert Gibbs. Any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? You want to change your vote, Mr.
Yes,
Gannon?
sir. I pushed the wrong button.
Okay, did you get it right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else want to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 4 yeses, 17 noes, and 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other amendments to 1866? Commissioner Garland Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as a very short preamble to this, I just wanted to say that I am completely on board with the idea that we need more library services in Montgomery County. I think that a lot of the ideas that the library board presented to us were brilliant ideas, especially the ones with the locking boxes where you could go to a specific site and get books. I think that the idea of more spread out library services is a great idea. However, I do have here the Montgomery County School System Building Program update that we got last year that we used as our basis to send tens of millions of dollars into the school system. And in this, it shows the community growth. It shows where the people are. It shows where the new homes are going. It shows where the school children are. It shows the industrial growth. And all of this points to the Rossview area and the Northeast area. And I feel that building the new library on Fort Campbell Boulevard kind of goes against all the information that we've been given everywhere else. So my amendment is, or my motion rather, is that we take the money that was put in the budget for the new library land purchase and hold it and have the library proposal come to us as an independent resolution at a later date. I feel this needs more discussion. Thank you.
So are you making a motion that that funding be removed?
Not necessarily removed, but just held until it can come back.
If it's in the budget, it's in the budget.
Okay, well, removed.
So we have a motion to remove the funding. Mr. Taylor, how much was that? 800,000? Is there a second? Commissioner Hodges, Arnold, any discussion on 1866 as amended regarding the library funding? Commissioner Vallejos.
Thank you, Mayor. Last year I voted totally against everything about this, and there have been town halls. They have been, everybody's come together to try to make this happen. And even during the budget process, we removed some of the funding going forward and simply allowed the funding for land. And I think it needs to stay there. I just think at least let's move forward with this. I just think, and at the same time, I think it would be good because you're still going to have the discussion on, they still got to come back to this body for that discussion. So I'm just, so I would just ask you to vote no on this. And I understand Mr. Gardner. I think Commissioner Gardner, he's right. There's got to be more discussion on it. But I think it'd be incumbent upon us to allow this to go forward and support this to get the land. And then as they purchase the land, it allows them, to stay focused, to move forward. And then when they do get the land, now, okay, now let's come back to this body. And this is what we want, and we can work together. And I think this is the right thing to do. So I ask you, please vote no on this.
Commissioner Gannon.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to kind of reiterate a little bit what Commissioner Vallejo said. There are a couple of locations. One is out by the VA, and the other one is, I think, is down by Tiny Town Road. However, Commissioner Johnson has a valid point. I think we should go, most communities that are our size have more than one library. In fact, they have multiple libraries. So I think a new library is way overdue, and I think the library and director have done their homework on places where to put it. I think everyone should vote to continue to fund the purchase of the property, but I would hope that in that also that the library committee kind of hears us and would keep us in the loop of possible places, and maybe, I know it's not granted into stone where the property is going to be bought. We're just funding it in order for when they do find the right place that they can move forward and go forward. So I do hope with this that the library committee will keep us abreast of possible property purchases and maybe do a little search out in that area as well of Garland Johnson's in the Rossview area. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gannon. Just as a point of order, Commissioner Johnson, they will have to come back to the Budget Committee. The Budget Committee passed a rule that any land purchase or any land that is appropriated to be purchased has to come back to the Budget Committee, but it will not come back to this body. So I told you kind of wrong. I'm sorry.
I don't want to overstep protocol, but if that is the case and this is not a definite location, then I will rescind my motion.
I don't think it's a definite location, in my opinion. I mean, I know it's been proposed, but it ain't definite till it's been bought and paid for, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I'll rescind.
All right. Commissioner Nichols, do you have anything you want to add, or Commissioner Harper?
Not if he's pulling the amendment, no.
I think Commissioner Arnold Hodges, you seconded it. You.
Okay, I'll pull out.
All right. Anything else on 1866? All right. Is there a motion to approve 866 as amended, that being the school removal of the half penny, those dollars going to the general fund, funding 3 additional SROs, with those 3 additional SROs and the SROs that are a part of this appropriation budget, 5 of those going to in schools that do not have them, and removing $75,000 from the TRC budget. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Nichols, is there a second? Commissioner Riccone, any discussion on 1866 as amended? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 17 yeses, 4 noes, 0 abstentions.
Commissioners, as a point of order, we have approved some changes to our appropriation budget. By doing that, Resolution 1865, which is a resolution to levy a tax rate in Montgomery County, Tennessee for fiscal year beginning 1/2018, that resolution spells out where our pennies go. And so that resolution will need to be amended to match what we've just done regarding our budget. I think Mr. Taylor may have those numbers. Mr. Taylor, you may want to read those numbers, and then we'll see if we can get a motion.
Yes, sir. On the general purpose schools, if we're taking half that penny growth back, which was 0.96 pennies, that drops them down, I believe, to 0.7592 pennies.
0.7592 pennies.
For the general purpose school fund.
Turn his microphone up, please.
I can speak a little bit closer. On the county general portion, that will increase that amount to, let me double check one more time, it'll increase it to 1.138 pennies for county general.
Okay. And no change to any of the other funds, correct?
No, sir.
All right. So is there a motion to reconsider Resolution 1865? Commissioner Gannon, is there a second? Commissioner Keene? Okay. There is a motion and a second to reconsider 1865. We can vote on that resolution to reconsider. If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 21 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Now, Resolution 1865, a resolution to levy a tax rate in Montgomery County, Tennessee for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Gannon, is there a second? Commissioner Tooley, need somebody to amend it. Commissioner Riccone.
I'd like to make an amendment that we add an amount not to exceed $35,000 to the
No,
city.
that's the wrong one. We need somebody to amend 1865 to match what we did in 1866, the numbers that Mr. Taylor just called out. No, we haven't.
Okay, so moved.
Commissioner Gannon, okay. Is there a second? Commissioner Sokol. Do we have to vote on the amendment too? Yeah. Okay, so we're voting on the amendment to 1865. I'm just trying to save the ladies some time. Ms. Jackson, I think y'all have those numbers from Mr. Taylor.
Yes, sir.
Y'all are awesome, by the way. I don't know how you do it.
Thank you.
Any discussion on the amendment to 1865? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 2 noes, 0 abstentions.
Now we're voting on 1865 as amended. Any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 20 yeses, 1 no, 0 abstentions.
All right, now to Resolution 1867. This is an resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $13,500,000 in general obligation public improvement bonds of Montgomery County, Tennessee. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Nichols, is there a second? Commissioner Jason Hodges, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 2 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you. Resolution 1868, resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation public improvement bonds of Montgomery County, Tennessee in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $13,500,000 in one or more series, making provisions for the issuance, sale, and payment of said bonds, establishing the terms thereof and the disposition of proceeds therefrom, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of principal of premium, if any, and interest on the bonds. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Baggett, second. Commissioner Garland Johnson, any discussion on 1868? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 19 yeses, 2 noes, 0 abstentions.
Mr. Riccone, here we come. Get ready. Get ready. Resolution 1869. I'm sorry. A resolution to amend the budgets of various funds for fiscal year 2018 in certain areas of revenues and expenditures. Is there a motion for approval? Commissioner Gannon, is there a second? Commissioner Albert, any discussion? Commissioner Riccone.
I'd like to make a motion that we add an amount not to exceed $35,000 to the line item that ends in 52-57900 for the purchase and upgrade of the audio video system in Civic Hall at Veterans Plaza. Finally.
We have a motion and a second to amend 18.6. Motion. Is there a second? Commissioner Keene, any discussion? Commissioner Harper.
Mayor, thank you. I want to congratulate Commissioner Riccone on his persistence. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Any other discussion? We are now voting on the amendment to 1869. If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 21 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Now voting on 1869 as amended. Any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change your vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 21 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Next item is unfinished business. Commissioner Vallejos.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to make sure I'm operating under Robert's Rule of Order. I don't want what happened to the other two commissioners, so is it appropriate at this time to bring up a reconsideration of a rezoning? I think so.
Yield to Mr. Harvey.
I do.
You want to reconsider
a failed zoning. I would like to reconsider CZ 12-2018. It was voted down, but I would like to.
Did you vote? If it failed,
I voted yes.
Then the prevailing vote was a no vote. So to reconsider, it must be made by someone who is on the prevailing side.
Well,
someone who voted no can move to reconsider.
Well, can I speak? Would it be appropriate to speak to the issue and maybe to that no and address why it's necessary to reconsider? Would it be appropriate?
The chair's got wide latitude.
Well, then I appreciate the chair.
But it's already.
Did you vote no?
I voted yes, Mayor.
It's already come and
passed. It's already gone past, and our county attorney said, it would have to be done.
Without objection from the committee, from the commission, if you want to speak to them
well, let
about
me speak
that
to
vote.
it. Thank you so much. Well, what I'd like to do is I would like anyone that made the no vote, because on CZ 11 on dash 2018 we voted yes, and then somewhere along the line somebody they switched their no to a no vote. And so it failed, and so, and I don't know if the consideration was taken into consideration the fact that the stormwater folks are going to go back and look at this, and we had a case like this a couple months ago where where we passed it, but they still got to go through another level of approval through the stormwater folks. So if you're concerned and you voted no on that, I would really like to bring this back because now we're locked this guy into one approval, and the other ones and the one we voted no is connected to that first one. So I just don't think it's fair for the gentleman to walk away with one zoning approved and the other one not, because they're connected. So I would appreciate if somebody who voted no would just take a relook at that and help me out. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Vallejos. Commissioner Redd.
I would like to agree. I'm thinking that it just may have been a mistake of some sort from somebody that voted, if you voted for CZ 11 and not 12, and I would also like to plead for somebody to reconsider. Thank you, Mayor.
There's just a certain point, though, where there's just a certain point where somebody who's the prevailing party is the only one eligible.
Commissioner Garland Johnson.
Just to reiterate, this whole thing wasn't about stormwater to begin with. There is a stormwater issue on the property, and I know that maybe some opinions may have been colored by some of the comments made on behalf of the IDB, but the issue at hand, at least in my mind, is the ability of that area to handle another subdivision, much less two subdivisions. That is the issue at hand. Stormwater, be that as it may, I think the larger problem here would be just being able to accommodate this action. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Harper.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess the logic of passing an R4 and not passing an R1A, I really would appeal to someone for reconsider.
But there's been 3 pleas made, and I ain't seen nobody raise their hand or hit their button, and we're fixing to, with all due respect to the applicant, we could have 7 more pleas, and somebody still doesn't want to change or to bring it up. So any other unfinished business? All right, under our reports, our county clerk's report, this will require approval of the commission. Ms. Jackson, would you please read your report?
Comes Kelly A. Jackson, County Clerk, Montgomery County, Tennessee, and presents the County Clerk's report for the month of May 2018. I hereby request that the persons named on the list of new applicants to the office of Notary Public be elected. The oath and bond of the appointed county official and the oaths of the sheriff's deputies are approved as taken. This report shall be spread upon the minutes of the Board of County Commissioners. You received your notary applications last week. There are none that are signed by personal surety, and the only name that I need to read into the minutes for bond purposes is Millard House, who is the Director of Schools.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion for approval of the clerk's report? Commissioner Sokol, second. Commissioner Tooley, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 21 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Commissioners, you'll see under your reports file, there's been several that have been added to it since our informal session. I think the one of interest or that is noteworthy is item number 11, department heads proposed salary increases. That is based on a rule that was established that needs to be approved by this body. I think that document's in your packet. I don't know where it is in there, but it's my understanding it's part of your packet. Page 233. And the chair will entertain a motion for item number 8 under the reports. Commissioner Sokol, is there a second? Commissioner Riccone, any discussion? I presume everybody found the report. Everybody's kind of looking like. Tim, you said you found it? Correct. Page 233. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have to approve the department heads' salaries. No discussion. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to get there on your iPads. We have a motion and a second. If you would, please register your vote. Yeah, we now, if you would, you hold on. Hold on. Vallejos, Tooley, and Gannon. The rest of y'all can register your vote. Ms. Tooley, would you like to cast a voice vote since your machine will not work? You vote yes. Ms. Jackson, did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You'll have 17 yeses, 2 noes, 2 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up on our agenda is the nominating committee. Chairman Nichols.
The nominating committee has nominations for the Legislative Liaison Committee, and these are seasoned commissioners that will be returning in September, and it's important to maintain the integrity of this committee because the report is due in September. The nominating committee nominates Commissioner Charlie Keene is nominated to replace Tommy Vallejos for a 2-year period to expire July 2020. Commissioner Jerry Albert nominated to replace Commissioner John Jennis for a 2-year period to expire July 2020. Commissioner David Harper nominated to fill an expired term of Commissioner Wallace Redd, term to expire in July 2019. Commissioner John Gannon nominated to fill an expired term of Commissioner Jason Hodges, term to expire in July 2019. And Commissioner Larry Riccone has been filling an unexpired term and is now eligible to serve his first full 2-year term to expire July 2020. And Mayor, this is in a form of a motion.
Is there a second? Commissioner Garland Johnson, any discussion on the nominating committee nominations? If you would, please register your vote. Ms. Tooley, would you like to voice vote? Please, yes. Ms. Jackson, I'm sure you heard that. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You'll have 18 yeses, 0 noes, 3 abstentions.
Thank you, ma'am. Under county mayor nominations, we have under judicial commissioner Michael Williamson nominate, and without objection, we have 2 nominations and 1 appointment that requires approval by the commission. That's the Senior Citizens Board. So without objection, we will take the county mayor nominations and the county mayor appointments together. Judicial commissioners Michael Williams nominated to serve another 1-year term to expire June 2019. Montgomery County Parks Committee Commissioner Joe Creek nominated to serve his second 2-year term to expire June 2020. And under appointments, the Senior Citizens Board, Tony Bullock appointed to fill the unexpired term of Betty Scoggins, who resigned, term to expire April 2021, and Michael Williamson appointed to fill the unexpired term of Elena Sampson, who resigned, term to expire 2020. And those are the only ones that require commission approval. Is there a motion for approval for county mayor nominations and appointments? Commissioner Genus, is there a second? Commissioner Nichols, any discussion? If you would, please register your vote. Ms. Tooley? Yes. Would anyone like to change their vote? Ms. Jackson, would you please tally the vote?
You have 20 yeses, 0 noes, 1 abstention.
Commissioners, under our announcements, we only have 1, and that is if you have an item that you would like for us to consider for the 2019 legislative agenda, please email them to Michelle Newell or Shelley Baggett. And both of those email addresses should be readily available on your iPads. Without any further business, I will call on Chief Deputy John Smith to adjourn us.
All rise. Oh, yes, this Honorable Board of County Commissioners now stands adjourned. May God save this state and this Honorable Board of County Commissioners.